When you get in there, clear mind, but subconsciously you might see something. Boom.
What does your week look like training wise?
It's more about tapering, but at the same time, it's not about switching off. So it used to be at my other clubs, like right, it's fight week, taper, switch off, relax. But now it's like every day, even when we're in a hotel for fight week, we'll meet up and we'll do drills. Teams will be looking at me going through reception with my training stuff on and thinking, he's struggling to make weight. Because you haven't got time in a fight to think, boom, okay, right, this happening, remember you need to make a period of that. Remember, you can't afford to do this because you'll get caught with this. When you get in there, clear mind, but subconsciously you might see something. Boom. You drilled it, your body does it naturally to react to that scenario. My job's not done until I get that victory.
So, today we've got Leigh Wood, two-time world champion WBA boxer.
Bit mental. Mad you sat here, really, to be fair.
Yeah.
Local lad from Notts.
Yeah, from Nottingham. How was it growing up in Nottingham?
I had a really good childhood. I was
Pull up.
Leigh, pull your mic down a bit.
sorry.
It's all right, mate.
How's that?
Yeah,
That'll do.
Yeah,
Wait, just
I
say
had a
something.
really
Yeah, you sound. That's it. That's cool.
I had a really good childhood. I was always active, always out. Not really. Wasn't like computers as there is now, is there? So I was always on motorbikes, quad bikes, I was boxing, bikes, making ramps, climbing trees, that kind of thing. But yeah, really good childhood. We had a really good group of kids around the similar age within 5 years. Lived on like a little block.
Where was this? Is this still Notts? Have you been in Notts?
Yeah, Notts all my life. Yeah, this was Gedlin. Definitely know Gedlin.
Yeah.
I don't
GED.
So did you get sort of like pushed into the boxing, or did a few of your mates do it? Was it mum or dad or brother?
No, so my mum was a single parent for a lot of years, and the kids at school were just better at football. And I didn't at the time realise that like they go to games at the weekends and training twice a week, 3 times a week. I just thought, oh, they're better than me at that.
Yeah.
Playing at lunchtime and that. I just thought I'd be better at something else. And then I think my brother and all his mates went boxing a few times, and I went and really small for my age. I just better. Not that I was better, like instantly better, but I tried harder and got results from trying harder quite quick. And I thought, actually, I like this. I like how hard it is. I like that I'm actually one of the smallest, but one of the hardest.
Yeah.
And I just got addicted, and then they stopped going. My mum didn't drive at the time. My friend's mum used to take us, and I went round for a lift on the block. And her name was Mandy. I was like, oh, not on. I was like, we're going boxing today. She's like, oh, he's not going anymore. That was Pogs or whatever it was at the time.
Yeah.
And she was like, and I turned around to walk off, and she went, oh, do you want a lift? And I stopped, and I was like, oh yeah, if you don't mind. And then she was taking me a few times, and then my friend's dad was coaching there at the time, but I didn't really know him. And then I started hanging around with them, and he lived opposite. He was coaching there. He used to take me for years. My first coach. It gets addictive, and you just want to improve. And it's hard to explain. It's like,
What was it about it did you have like? Obviously, you mentioned about the car and wanting to go and stopping in that brief moment to think, oh, do I want to go to boxing? Did you have that like deep down rooted, I need to go, or were you nervous about it the first few times?
No, I wasn't nervous. Like, it's just addictive. It's hard to explain. It's like when you do well or start to do well in something hard, it's so rewarding.
So did you see quite quickly? Sorry, Mitch. Did you see quite quickly then that you were good at it?
I don't know if I was good at it, but I was probably looking around how hard other people found it, and I'm thinking, well, I'll play football and they were better than me, and I'm trying as hard as I can and they were better than me. Then now it's a level playing field, and we've all started at similar time, and I'm smaller and I'm a bit younger, and like I'm trying hard. I'm getting what I put in is what I'm getting out.
I think
that makes sense.
Yeah, you've obviously got the mindset in your head. You know you can push yourself to do it, but you're also got to in life sort of play to the things that are at your advantage. If you've got sort of like that already head start and you enjoy it, it's one of them things where you can hold yourself completely accountable. You know, if you go in, you don't do well, you can't blame anyone else. You might go footy.
Yeah, and it was like an instant thing where like what you put in is what you get out.
Yeah,
it's not like something else where like you can toss it off, but if you're quite skillful, like with boxing, it's like you get to find out. And,
play around a good team in football, you might get pulled along.
Yeah, it's individual, and like I started picking up something, and I had good spars, bad spars, and over the years that kind of played out the same because it was like I remember like kids' dads used to bring them down. Oh, it's gonna be the next best thing, and I'd be rocking up on me. I'd be walking from my house sometimes on my own, and I'd keep rocking up, and have good spars, bad spars. But if I had a bad spar, I think, why did I have a bad
I
spar?
can do better.
I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna beat him. If he beat me 3 times on the trot and then like sparring, beat up 3 times, and then I'll come back and I get the better of him, and then all of a sudden they don't come back.
Did it take you long to get into the sparring from when you first started? Because I imagine at first you do like pads, your bags and everything like that. But what did you want to get straight? Did you think I want to get straight in the ring?
So when I was
Obviously you were
young,
how old are we talking here?
10, 11.
Right, okay.
So when I first started going, I wasn't really disciplined. So I used to love the sparring because I was like quite skillful and practicing things, and I find it like a way to express my personality. Like I was confident and exciting and with not a lot of substance. Then we'll go for a run. I'd be like, I'd take a shortcut and jog back. And I was only 10 and 11. Like the discipline side, I was more focused on the enjoyment side. And I'm glad I did, because I didn't really start taking it serious until I was about 14, 15. I enjoyed it. And that was, for me, giving advice to kids that age is enjoy it. Don't, because like I was about to say, kids would come down with the dads, and the dads want them to box and want them to be champion, want them to do this one, and start thinking years and years ahead without actually thinking, wait a minute, does my kid enjoy this?
Yeah.
And I actually just enjoyed it.
That's the main thing, isn't it? You're not
100%. And like I said, I would go in, and then all these kids that would be coming down, the dads push them. As soon as they got old enough to tell the dad to fuck off, then you never see him again.
I'm nowhere near the same as how you've obviously grown up. You've done a lot more than me, but I'm the same. I had a single mum, and a lot of people would always say, "Oh, well, you've not got your dad to put you on the football team, this, that, and the other." I could not fault it at all. My mum did a great job, and I got to do the things I actually enjoyed and push myself at them. And I did always think, if I did have my dad, he'd probably push me down something I might not have enjoyed.
Exactly,
and I think that does happen to a lot of people, that lads that will end up in
Feel a lot of
things
pressure, don't you?
that you get so pressured to do what you have to
And
do.
you get better at making your own decisions, because I think you find out earlier what you actually like, instead of someone telling you, you like this, you like doing that, you enjoy doing that. Articulate, really? Or is it you like doing that? Or you did, you're trying to live through me.
Yeah.
So I made that decision myself, and I pursued that because I enjoyed it, and no one told me anything different. And my family ever boxed, no one in my history of that I know of ever did it, and I've done it and gone up to a level which is like elite, and it's nice to know that I've done it off my own back. Yeah.
So as a young Leigh Wood then, that's just got a new sort of fire for boxing, who are you looking up to? Who's your idol at the time?
So I remember I got given some DVDs back then. You guys know what they are?
Yeah, just about.
Well, I'm 25, he's 26. We're not.
It would be a hard drive nowadays, wouldn't it, or whatever it is? But yeah, probably. So I got given these DVDs. It was Eric Morales and Barrera trilogy. So all 3 fights on this disc, and I used to watch it and watch it and watch it. And I loved Morales, how exciting he was, and the amount of punches he threw, and just his heart. He had a really big heart, you know. You could literally drop him and he'd be straight back up, and then you'd probably drop you. He'd just relentless. And that was one thing that I wanted to take away. Like, he would never say never. It would never say die. It would never give up, never quit, no matter what was happening or how tough it got. So watching that, I was like, I want to be like this guy.
Do you think that's one of your biggest strengths?
I think mental strength is my biggest asset. And that can be looked at in the dice many different ways, training, fight night. Like what I said again earlier, like I would lose 3 spots on the trot going to the gym, and most kids would be like, shit, I'm mighty God, I'm just gonna quit. And I'd be like, I'm gonna get better. I need to be better. To be better. I'm gonna get better.
Setting your own ceiling.
Yeah, for example, one lad might get the better of me loads of times, and eventually when the tables turned and I started getting better and beating and winning spars, and then they just disappear because they think, well, they're like on top kids, like why everyone's going right and going, well, they're all right. And what you find out in life is not everything goes your way, and that's the testament to character. When things don't go your way, how you respond.
So was there many obstacles in your way when you were trying to get up early stages, and even in the recent stages?
Obviously, you were going to school at the same time as you. What, and how many times a week were you training when you were at school?
Yeah, so I was probably training 4 times, 5 times a week with Sunday morning.
Serious shift, yeah.
Yeah, when you're a kid, because like I remember, I put out to train Monday to Friday and Sunday morning in my last 2 years of school. But before that, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday morning, for years. But when I got to 15, like I said earlier, I used to just mess about and enjoy the sparring and use the fun side of it. And then a new coach came in called John, and he basically kicked me up the arse and said, right, if you're doing this, you're doing it properly. And the whole gym had like a reform. It was like everyone left. Well, this is hard. I don't want to do this. I'm not enjoying this anymore. I'm gone.
Yeah.
But it was hard. Like, was doing like sprints up and down hills on Darley Avenue. And people watching this might not know where it is. It's literally like that. Goes up and over. Then there's another hill at the back. So you'd go up and over, up and over. Used to make us run them, and he just kicked us up the arse. And what a boxing club I think should be, that discipline
Yeah.
at the right ages, obviously. But he took over when I was 15, and that year I won the Junior BAs, which is like in England a national competition. You lose, you're out, and go to the last people, and you win the whole thing. And as soon as I took over, I won that. So I was kind of like,
Was that one of the first turning points then where you thought, oh my God, this could be...
Like a defining
Yeah.
point of the career.
Yeah, exactly what I said earlier. We're boxing, what you put in is what you get out. And I had many fights before that. Won a few, lost a few, lost in a few competitions. And then once I did it right, the right way, I was like, wow, this whole time I've not even been training. And I've won fights and lost fights. And then as soon as I do things right, I'm the best in England. It's like, then it gives you confidence, like, how far can I go? Yeah. It just makes you think, start thinking then, because I had a passion for it anyway. I love boxing. And then I've got something out of it. It's like, it just opens up a whole, I want to do this properly. Obviously, I'm looking up to people like Nicky Booth, Jason Booth, Jared Khalid, El Graham, Carl Frotch, like all these people to look up to. Then I wanted to put my name against them in Nottingham. As the older I got, I'm talking like 15, I was thinking, right, I want to do what these guys are doing.
ahead, yeah.
I never wanted to go to the Olympics because none of them people I just mentioned went to the Olympics. I always wanted to turn pro. So yeah, when I won that national title, the first one, and Box England, it was like, I'm going to do it.
So how is it turning pro? What is the sort of the process for it?
So yeah, a lot of people get confused with this. Turning professional as a fighter, as a boxer, it's not about ability, it's just a choice. But what I would say is some people turn pro for the wrong reasons, just to say they're a professional boxer, which is not the best thing to do because it's dangerous and you're going to get hurt. What I would advise is get some experience. Some people go from white collar and actually do all right, but get experience, whether that's on the unlicensed scene or the amateur scene, which I would recommend, and then learn the craft, learn the basics. Also, it gets into that experience of dealing with things on fight night, because some people are really bad dealing with nerves and things like that. Get your experience and then you turn pro, which is basically you start getting paid to fight. Well, you're supposed to get paid to fight. It's all based on different business models. If you sign with the promoter, you're all right. If you don't, then it's based on ticket sales and what you sell on fight night to pay for your opponent's purse, your own purse, and then contribute towards the show. It's a business, boxing. Professional boxing is a business, and you need to be on the right side of it.
Have you found that since money's become involved into it, has it changed your habits or your views on boxing, or have you managed to remain sort of quite grounded with it all?
It changed my view on boxing when money wasn't involved. When I first turned pro and I was kind of hustling to get by and selling tickets to fight, and there's been some occasions when I didn't get paid as a professional, and I've grafted and I'm building my way up, and for example, I didn't sell enough tickets to cover everything, so I didn't end up getting paid, or someone helped me out, chucked me 100 quid or whatever to fight, and you think, like 7 or 8 years ago, I had a box for pretty much free, and now the money that I make per fight now, it's pretty unbelievable. But it's a process sometimes, or an investment in yourself that I believed was going to pay off.
How did that make you feel then when you received your first sort of paycheck, if you like, from your first fight?
My big one. It's hard to explain because I never really boxed for money. I never really thought. I didn't even know boxers got paid when I first started boxing. I didn't even know the
it's a byproduct of it, isn't it? It's the way.
Obviously, I used to watch Rocky as a kid. When you see him when he makes a lot of money and then loses it, and I've seen that many times with fighters that have gone on to take drugs and kind of ruin their life or squandered the money, end up with nothing. And one thing I always thought was, no matter what I'm making boxing, I'm going to invest it and make sure after boxing I don't have to work a normal job, because boxing is a very hard sport, and if you take a chunk of your life. Like I'm 35, boxing since I was 10. So that's a massive chunk of my life where I've had to live and a fairly, I'm not going to say difficult because I enjoy it, but like I've had to be disciplined. I've had to make
Tolling on you.
a lot of sacrifices. I missed out on a lot of things. Not that I regret it because I love it and I'll do the same thing again. But it's hard. So if you have to live that life for that long in pursuit of something, and then again have to stop and live a normal life, you've done it wrong. And I could never wrap my head around how fighters of a certain level win a certain title and then they make average money that should have invested and been all right now out to work again, squandered it. Drugs, drink, women, whatever they do. And I've seen that time and time again, especially from Nottingham fighters, that I need to make sure I don't make the same mistake again. So I never thought, right, I'm going to start boxing professionally to make money. It was never that. It was win titles, secure myself, hopefully financially, and then
and make sure you're all right and
leave some history. And I did them things. So when like you said, when I first got that first paycheck, it wasn't right. Go and show everyone how much money I've got, or go and live
night in the club and
go and live a life that other people would do with that money. It wasn't that. It was like
a weight off your shoulders almost.
The pressure had gone, so it was like invest it. I always invest like 90% of money. Invest it, then that pressure comes off the next fight. Oh, I can actually go and keep enjoying my boxing now because that pressure's gone. Then the paydays get bigger, the wins get better, and yeah, the lifestyle stays the same, and the achievements get more and more and more. Whereas if I'd have done something silly with that money, there'd have never been that fight because I wouldn't have won that fight. There'd never been that fight because I wouldn't have won that fight. It's a snowball effect.
Good way to look at it.
You have to stay grounded and keep your day-to-day life the same, although you can enjoy it to such that you can buy like property or a nice car. You can help people, help my mum out and stuff. Like you can do little things, but I've always said to myself, I'm going to try keep my lifestyle the same until I retire. But even then, I'm not going to be living. I'm quite modest, and I think I've basically got 3 kids. I've adopted 1, and I want to give them an example. Like I want to be a role model to them, so I don't want them to see me like do well in boxing and then change my lifestyle and do something totally opposite to what I'm preaching. So
yeah. So more in
stability as well mentally. Like you start doing things that you shouldn't be doing, and then mental stability.
Once you slip once a little bit, it gets a bit slippier, doesn't it?
Like don't get me wrong, moderation, for example, like drinking. I believe like moderation is important, but when you start pulling the sea out, it bounces back there. Then
one drink's another drink is another drink is another drink.
I've seen it with friends, and I think stability is in what's the word? Routine.
Yeah.
Stability is in routine.
So more on the mindset than in the psychology of it. It's probably something you are quite strong with then. Coming into your fight, obviously the build up to it, I imagine with a lot of people it can be hard, it can be mentally tolling on you, you're worrying, then you're walking up to the ring, getting a bit nerves. Is that something you don't struggle with as much, or?
I get more nervous for the press conference than I do the fight.
That's good then.
And I think the reason being is I have more preparation for the fight than the press conference.
Because in the press conference you don't know what's going to happen, do you?
I just think like I've always been like this, for example, today. If this was 7 years ago, I'd struggle to put myself across because I'd be like worrying and thinking about what I'm saying and be like, hi.
I mean, it is a skill though. It's something you do have to practice.
And I've never, from a kid, I've never like thought, right, I want to start doing these or even thought about being in this. Like you think about the boxing side, but I don't think about the press things and
the production.
No, I never thought, right, I'll be at a press conference in front of 300 people and I've got to get myself across and explain how well my camp's gone, and you don't think about that. So there's no preparation for it. With the fight, obviously every day, day in, day out, twice a day I train for that. So it's a lot easier, it comes natural.
And as we spoke about earlier, the preparation's almost more important than the actual fight itself.
100%.
Yeah, so that's something we could go. We have obviously gone into it a bit, but how important is the pre-fight to the actual fight? What all the extra pieces that come into play that some people don't even consider?
Without giving away your trade secrets, obviously.
Yeah, well, fights are won weeks before the fight, months before the fight sometimes. I'm trying not to give too much away, but I've got a team that I believe, and I've said it many times, over the next 10 years, are going to prove to be the best in the world. it's no secret that recently AJ's joined the gym. My coach is Ben Davison, and the video analyst guy is called Leigh Wood, and they're working with fighters all around the world, like really elite. There's no secrets now, like Devon Haney and AJ's in the gym, and there's a lot of fighters they're working for because they are the best at what they do. And I was extremely lucky to meet these at the time I did when they didn't have a massive team, and everything clicked, and I got my place and helped me take me from British title level to reigning world champions, winning by knockout. And I can't thank them enough. And yeah, the preparation that they put in for individual fights and the way they approach the fights is it's unbelievable.
Did
It's
you
hard
put the
to
team
even
together
explain.
there?
No, so I was at the Inglewood gym for a while and nothing was happening. I was 30 years old. I had a lot of things happening in my personal life. I was rock bottom. I kept getting promised fights and the one materializing. I got to the point where it was like, I need to leave this gym. So before that, I was at the Inglewood. There was Brendan Inglewood, the older guy. He died, and he was the reason I went to that gym. He trained Prince Nazim. He always used to give me a lot of time, and he's just a great people person, Brendan. And then when Brendan passed away, the gym, I don't think the gym was the same. And then I was getting promised things by the management, and it was really letting me down. And I was 30 years old, so not only was I not where I wanted to be in boxing, I had no money. I had loads of things happening in my personal life, and it got to the Christmas. It was the worst time of my life. I was literally rock bottom. So many things happened. I thought, you know what? They promised me the British title fight in the December. It fell through, and they didn't even tell me about it. I watched in the gym, and I seen something on my phone about he was fighting someone else. I was just like, they're not even told me.
This is only 2019.
This is 18.
18.
So you found out about it on social media or
I
on your
found
phone?
out about social media, and then I
Brutal,
walked into
yeah.
the gym, and I said, like, he's fighting him. Oh yeah, don't worry, we'll get someone else. And I've been training for this fight, and I was just like, I was just so deflated. And I remember going back to my flat where I was shivering with John and Gillen, and I was crying, and I was like, I'm just gonna go home. And I went home that week, and then John said, look, Dave Caldwell, manager, and this is before I went to Ben. Dave Caldwell, manager, but won't train you, blah blah blah. And Ian Grant started training me, and then I got a bit of a break in the new year, won the Commonwealth, went to go on a contract, won the European, got beat in the final, and then my friend I was training with, Leo at the time, went to train with Ben Davison. So then there's another break here, and then the COVID happened and that, and Leo kept saying to me, come and train with Ben, come and train with Ben. And at the time I just thought like Ben Davison, Tyson Fury, like I didn't really look into it. I just thought it's got a name from training Tyson Fury, like. And at the same time, Leo was going training with him and telling Ben, train Lee. And Ben's like, I just lost to him. I don't really know him. Like he was thinking, like, probably looking in hindsight at me and thinking, oh, he's 30 years old or nearly 31, whatever. And I was thinking the same thing. Well, he's probably train Tyson Fury. Like, don't really know. Probably not a great coach. Blah blah. And then Leo, our mate in the middle, was pestering him. It kind of brought us together. And then I basically got the opportunity to fight for the British title. The board ordered it, so the board ordered it. Matchroom, I think, won the bid for it. So me and Reece Moore were fighting for the British title. I had no trainer.
How did that make you feel when you knew it was all happening?
I was excited because I wanted that title since I was 10 years old, and then I had no trainer at the time, so I rang the trainer that trained me for the previous 3 fights, and he just said, "I can't give you what you want. You know, COVID's happened. We ain't really got a gym. We ain't got this." I said, "Oh, that's a big decision. Like, I'll give you a few days to think about it." Then I rang him back a few days later and I said, look, I still feel the same and I can't give you what you need for this fight. So then I was trainless, and then Leo kept ringing me. So then I got in touch with Ben, and then we both decided, look, come down for a trial week. And it was the best decision I've ever made in my life.
That's a big turning point.
So yeah, I went down, spoke to Ben, and he trained me for that British title, which was brutal. I remember it was brutal. And Leigh Wiley did the scouting report for me, which is the first time I've ever had a scouting report in my life for a fight. And Ben was helping me drill the things I needed to do for the fight and work on the things I needed to win that fight. And yeah, I won that fight by a knockout during COVID.
Was it weird training in COVID? Did they let you spar and stuff like that? Because you can't be.
It was therapy for me because I was a professional athlete. I was allowed to train. So you was allowed to.
Oh.
But obviously all the normal gyms was closed, but I was allowed to train in different places because I was a professional athlete. So that was kind of like my therapy. Getting out of the house, it was
It'd have been
great.
nice if you didn't have that to fall back
Oh,
on.
it was great. It was great. But yeah, so then I won the British title in COVID, and what many people don't know is if you win the British title and you fight for a world title and win it, you get stripped of the British title. You can't hold a world title and a British title at the same time. So I got called for the world title 6 weeks notice. This is not long after the British title. So I won the British. I was back in the gym, which is another good thing that I thank myself for. Is always training no matter what. If I haven't got a fight, I'm always training. Because some people have a good break and then they eat a lot and then they're not in great shape and they're not training. And if they got that call for the world title, they wouldn't have got it. And professional boxing, sometimes at my age, I was out at 30 years old to try and put myself in a position to box for a world title, box eliminators, and it could have took me up until this age to even get a shot at one with the politics. So one thing I do thank myself for is staying ready, staying in the gym. After the British title, I was in the gym and we got the call. Kanzu from China, because of COVID, no shows up in America. They're going to do a deal with Golden Boy and Matchroom to bring him to the UK for a fight. What's an opponent is picked you. Do you want it or not? 6 weeks time.
But you were ready because you prepared.
Say I was ready. I was in the gym ticking over. Ben had a look at him, and said, "I think you should take this fight. I think you can win this fight, world title." And I bear in mind I just won a British. Before that, I was coming off a loss. I had a massive gap with COVID. But I trust my team. Just won with the British title. It's all new, but the way that we operate, I was enjoying it. Got my scoring report through, and Ben goes, "Yeah, you don't need to spar a lot for this fight." I'm thinking, I don't know if any of you guys watched the build up, but he was the Chinese monster, they called him, Kanzu, and he had the record for the punches thrown per round. So like he had a crazy output, like I can't remember how many punches, like 120 punches a round or something. It was a crazy.
I've seen him.
Yeah. So the storyline when the bookies wrote me off, I think it was like 12-1, 6-1 for the knockout in the 12th round. And the comments I was getting on social media was, he's going to use my head as a speedball, and I didn't have a chance. And and Ben says, don't worry about, you don't need a lot of sparring for this fight. I was thinking, the hardest fight of my life, on paper, and he's telling me I don't really need to spar a lot for this fight. Then it was more in the drills and the things we're practicing, the game plan, and I started practicing. I didn't really quite understand it, and then he got me some sparring in for someone that was a very similar build and did very similar things, attributes, the way he defended and certain things. And I practiced what I was drilling in the sparring. I only had 2 spars, I think it was, and it worked. And I couldn't believe it. I was thinking, oh my God, what I've been practicing, as soon as I adapt it to this style in front of me, keeping someone occupied and stabbing at certain times and where and when, it worked. I could see straight away it just clicked how I'm going to beat him, it working. And it was like, I was kind of, it just, the penny dropped.
But you're
I
thinking,
just
you
could
guys
not
are
believe.
geniuses.
Yeah, pretty much that, yeah. And then give me so much trust in my team. And then obviously I went out and executed the game plan. And I did say in interviews before that fight, I'm not saying I'm going to come out and knock him out straight away, but the accumulation will get him. The accumulation, round after round, I'll get him down the stretch. And I did. Accumulation got him. I was sitting with everything over the 12 rounds without rushing it, but being patient and keep stabbing and kept doing the things I was drilling.
Sticking to the plan.
I got him out and knocked him out in round 12. Again, going back to my team, like, they're unbelievable. And then every fight, I got better because of the trust in my team. And then the Conlan fight, same again after that. Wasn't expected to win. It was one of the best amateurs Ireland's produced. But we had my game plan and I stuck to it. The Conlan fight came about. I got ordered to fight him because of the regular super situation with the title. So they wanted me to fight him. They wanted to reduce the belts to 1 belt. And yeah, Conlan was the best amateur Ireland's ever produced. Everything I don't like, southpaw, extremely skillful. But my game plan was fought by my team, and again I went out and executed it and got the victory.
How do you feel about different belts?
As a fighter, I do think that there should just be 1 belt. Although at the same time it gives a lot of opportunities for fighters having more, but it gets confusing. It does get confusing for fans, especially when there's more and more belts being added, and it's hard to keep up with. But the 4 belt era, I mean, it's been there long enough now to be to have substance. Like it's recognized, because them 4 belts have been won by many champions over the years, individually and all together. So like you got the WBA, the WBC, the IBF, and the WBO, which are the 4 recognized ones. Then obviously there's the Ring magazine, which carries a lot of weight as well, which basically you get if you get all 4, or number 1 fights number 2. So yeah, the 4 belt era I think is great, but I think it would be good if we could have one. But then people are like, well, we don't want to lose the WBC, we don't lose the WBA, we don't, because they're all individual, look different colours. So I think the 4 belt era works for boxing, and it's probably not going to change.
Yeah. So coming up to a fight, how does, even out of a fight, what does your week look like training wise?
For the week of the fight,
Yeah, the lead up to,
yeah. So my fight week is different to how it used to be before I joined this team. It's more about tapering, but at the same time, it's not about switching off. So it used to be at my other clubs, like, right, it's fight week, taper, switch off, relax, and then fight night. But now it's like, okay, taper, there's no switching off. Every day, even when we're in a hotel for fight week, we'll meet up and we'll do drills. And then teams will be looking at me going through reception with my training stuff on and thinking, he's struggling to make weight. He's training again. He's training again. He's training again. Then after the weigh-in, after the weigh-in, the same day or the next day, they see me going to train again. They must think, oh, he's training again after he's made weight.
So is it like dropping intensity to lower the risk of injury, but carrying on?
People think I'm training every day on fight week to make weight because they see me walk by with training stuff on.
But you're just training for the sake of training, obviously.
I'm training to drill scenarios in the fight because there's no switching off. My job's not done until I get that victory. And my team realise that the more you drill this, the more we drill that into here and perform it in physically before the fight, right up until the day of the fight, the more chance subconsciously you're going to do them things when them opportunities present themselves. Because you haven't got time in a fight to think, oh, when he does this, I'm going to do this. I'm going to think about that.
Instinctual.
Yeah, you can't. It's like... it's like when someone chucks your ball and you just go, and you catch it, yeah? But imagine someone talking to you about something else, and then someone throwing you a ball, and someone previously has said, if you catch that ball, you get 50 grand. But then you talked about something else, and someone throws the ball, goes, poof, hits you and falls on the floor. Then they come back to you and go, if you'd have caught that ball, you got 50 grand, you'd be like, oh no. But like, you didn't know. Yeah. Because you occupied with something else. If I was boxing, right, and for example, a certain scenario we've drilled or we've talked about, right, when he does this, you need to make sure you're doing this to make him pay. And I go out and I think about that one thing. There's loads of other things wrapping, boom, boom, or I'll get caught with this, get caught with that. And then I've been thinking about one thing, and that probably only happens twice a round or twice every 2 rounds. I'm waiting for one thing, I'm getting battered because I'm thinking about one thing.
So you need to live it.
So you need to practice these scenarios. Boom, there's one scenario. Okay, he's doing this. You need to do this. Boom, okay. Right, this happening. Remember, you need to make a period of that. Remember, you can't afford to do this because you'll get caught with this. So then you drill many of these situations. And then when you get in there, you clear mind. But subconsciously, you might see something. Boom, boom. And you drilled it. Your body does it naturally to react to that scenario.
How do you try and pull yourself back to a sort of, obviously mid-fight, it's got to be absolutely mental. But how do you pull yourself back if you do start to focus on something and everything else starts to fade away?
You don't. Well, I don't. I like, when the fight ends, I cannot tell you. It's like, it's hard to explain. I get the knockout, boom. It's like, woof, I come back. I'm like, I was somewhere else. I was that concentrated, that focused. I was like, somewhere else.
Yeah.
So like, the Conlan fight, the Warrington fight, the Zukan fight. Well, the Zukan fight was slightly different because I felt like nothing was happening. It was like slow motion and everything. So it was like I was quite conscious. But like all the other fights, well, the knockout I wasn't, but like all the other fights, I landed the knockout shot and it's like, boom, I just realised where I am. it's crazy to explain because I was that concentrated, I was that focused.
Hyper focused, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a different state. It's hard to explain.
I said this to Lee, who we had on, who I said my cousin, he races. Obviously, he's in his helmet, and I said to him, when you're going round and say someone comes past you, are you thinking, oh, I need to do this, need to do that, or are you're just there with the bike riding? Is it like for you? Is there any points where you're thinking, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to correct, or is it just all? Like...
No, the first round maybe before you get into that, or the first 2 rounds, but then you just get into a state where like you're just subconscious, you're just doing things the back of your mind, not the front of your mind, and it's like them scenarios and you might see them whatever at certain times, and it just happens. You just do it. Like there's a video of my Conlon fight and Ben in the corner. You can see him in the corner if you watch that fight back, of him going like this. That we basically push him back, occupy him. When he slips, nail him. And then the sequence I knocked him out. Woof, 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 bang, and knocked him out. But the round before that, you see Ben in the corner, and he's doing this. I didn't see that, by the way. I did not see him in the corner do that. But subconsciously, I've drilled that practice that many times, thousands of times with him in the gym. When that scenario presented itself, I did it. And it's I don't know what it is. Like you just get so concentrated in the moment that you don't have time to think because everything's happening
so
around you.
You're watching your opponent like to the T to see when they're going to fall into these things.
I'm not thinking. I'm not thinking anything. I'm not. You haven't got time. You haven't got time to subconsciously think. Because I think when you think about something, then you have to process it and do it. You haven't got that time. You just got to do it.
You just got to do it, haven't you?
You just got to do it. It's a bit like driving. Like if I told you, like, if you drove here today, if you've got a geared car, and I went, right, you just got here. Yeah, just got here. When did you last? When did you last change gear? Like, I don't fucking know. You just do it.
Yeah.
It's a bit like driving. You do it that many times subconsciously. You don't even have to think about doing it. You're driving. You're talking to someone. Boom, boom, boom. You're changing gear. You know when you have to change gear. You know when you have to brake. You don't have to steer. And you do it that many times day in day out. You just do it, and that's pretty much how you have to get in a sport. Repetition. I don't know about other sports, but I know boxing. That's how you have to be. That's how you have to get to, because you can't rehearse it perfectly because it's not going to happen like that. It's not like, right, you're going to come out, you're going to jab, he's going to jab back, then you're going to step there, because you might do something, they might do something else. So then you're processing something else. So you've got to be aware of things, but let things play out. That's why you have to just do it in the moment.
So back on the training, take us through a hard week of training then. Few weeks before you fight, like maybe a month or so, if you know it's coming up, how is it going on a heavy week? What's it like? Yeah,
it's hard, but you just get used to it. It's like, it is hard.
Is there any weight training to it or not?
Yeah, there's see, with boxing, you're covering like 3 or 4 sports. So like, there's the boxing side, there's the weights and the circuits, there's the running, there's the dieting. So as training gets harder, you're eating less. But I enjoy how hard it is. That's one of the things that I like about the sport. But it's like a gatekeeper for people that mentally aren't able to do it. It's like all these things are like gates for, oh, you're not strong enough to do that. Pff, you can't get to that level. Oh, you're not disciplined enough to get to there. Pff, oh, you want to go out and drink with your friends. Pff, that's the gate for that. There's like, in my head, there's gates, and if you fail at one thing, you won't get through that gate, kind of thing. Okay. That's how I see it. Not everyone sees it the same, but that's how I see it. It's like I see it as I have to do everything right. If I eat a chocolate bar in camp, I will be thinking about that on fight day.
Yeah, so you have to be on it.
I have to do everything right.
Did you need someone there to sort of teach you that stuff, or from an early age was you very on it with your nutrition and fitness?
No, I didn't know everything straight. It takes time and experience. You learn as you go on. I think you look at other people, your experience, like you be around people that are better than you, and you want to find out as much about them to get to their level. Then you're like, it's like snakes and ladders sometimes. Really. Yeah. When I went to Sheffield when I turned pro, Brennan sent me on a sports science course. So I learned about nutrition and diet and recovery and all the basics. It was an access to uni course, actually. But I never went to uni, obviously. I only went to keep him happy and get him off my back. But I learned a lot. but then you learn more actually practically making food, results, weight, where am I? Okay, well, I did it better this time. Every camp, well, I remember when I did that and I felt a bit tired and I didn't want great for sparring. I need to be fueled for that, and I need to make sure bring my weight down at the right time, drying yourself out this much. It's an art, it's a fine art, and everyone's different, everybody's different. Your body reacts different. So for me as a person,
like your results
yeah,
and stuff
so
like
like I've got camps on here I've been since 2016. Every camp, every day, what I weighed when I wake up, what I weighed when I went to bed. I'm very meticulous with data, that kind of data, things like that. I've got a polar heart rate monitor, so every session I've done in the last 15, 12 years is online on a polar app. So boxing, running, weights, anything. My heart rate monitor's picked it up, saved it onto an app, saved it online.
Do you yourself look at that, or do you have other people, or do you have you and others look
Other
at
people
it
have looked at it in the
assess
past, but mainly it's for me mainly like I don't go back on to look on the data online, but day to day I look at it, okay, how hard was that session? It felt hard, but how hard was actually working on my heart rate? Oh, it wasn't that bad. Or I felt good today. God, my heart rate's sky high. I'm not that fit. Or I feel a bit tired today. I've got an elevated heart rate before I even started. Look,
Maybe you can also see
maybe I need a
trends
low
over
day.
time as well. And
Maybe I need a low day. Or I've just done 6 rounds sparring, not sparring in a while. It's hard that. Look at my heart rate. Where was that? Where should I have been? Where was I? Where have I been in the past number of camps? So just kind of use it as a gauge.
And then you can sort of see like if you've had a specific food, if that's going to slow you or things like that.
Yeah, if you're carrying a bit more weight.
Yeah.
Or there's loads of things that can affect it, but like as a rule, sometimes when you're tired, you've done a bit too much. Because sometimes a lot of people do this. They go to the gym and they do too much too soon, and that can be too fast or too much weight or whatever. There's so many factors it can be, but a lot of people do, like, especially I'm like that as well. Like I hit things hard, and I always have. But sometimes that can put you off because they do too much too soon, get too tired, then they get like,
you have any points in your career where you've thought to yourself, if I'm not careful, I'm going to burn out?
What, long term?
Yeah, not long term, but just necessarily overtraining and maybe what you do to try and mitigate that.
Yeah,
because I definitely overtrain.
Yeah, I'm probably my own worst enemy when it comes to doing too much. Like,
but that's a discipline thing, isn't it? Really?
Especially before I went to Ben, so like, I was doing too much and then not getting the benefits from it as much, and then I got obsessed with doing too much, thinking, oh, I don't want to do too much. Then I was spar on that day, and then I realized when I'm with Ben that like you can do too much sometimes, but if you do too much consistently, your body will just adapt to it. Your body's very clever and it can come back from most things. So if you are doing too much, as in like, there's a line obviously, but like, I remember for the Conlan camp I sparred 12 rounds, 2 days or 3 days on the trot, 10 rounds, 12 rounds, and it wasn't too much. You know, so there's sometimes, yeah, you can do too much to get yourself into a hole and you need to make sure you're getting your rest, but on the whole, your body will adapt accordingly. Like, look at cyclists, that Tour de France thing, that they do it because the body adapts to doing it.
Progressively increasing your
exactly,
tolerance.
Yeah. You can do too much too soon, but over time, your body will adapt accordingly.
Seen that hardest geezer?
No,
this guy, he's running across the entire of Africa.
I think I have seen that, yeah. I have seen that, yeah.
He's almost finished now. But like, I imagine at the start
feet
of that,
are in bits and that, yeah.
Imagine at the start that he was in, well, I think even now he's probably still in
That's
bits.
the thing, like your tendons will get stronger and your skin on your feet will get harder, like your body will adapt. Your body will get adapt to doing what it does most, day in, day out.
Yeah. So if you could have a dream matchup of two boxers, any era, you get to watch it, ringside, who you watching?
Quality question.
Do you know what? I've explained this a few times. I'm not the best at explaining it, but I'm not a massive boxing fan. I like what I get out of boxing from a point of view where I would say you will not go to Alton Towers and watch other people on the ride. Because I feel like that's what it's like for me. Like what I get out of boxing, how tough it is, the camp, the process, the making weight, the weighing in, then fighting, all the emotions of the nerves and everything, then getting the victory. that feeling of all that process and that
For that one moment.
just everything, just the ups, the downs, the camp, emotional, cried. I've come through, I've had good days, bad days, and I've been through all that. And then I make the weight, and I'm like, half thinking, oh, it was hard to make the weight. And then I go on fight night, and I'm not expected to win, I am expected, whatever. And then I get through it, and I'll get dropped to pick myself up, whatever what happens. I get the victory, and it's like, I look back, I'm like, I'm proud of myself for the things I've been through, what people don't know I've been through. And then I get the victory, and that feeling is just like, oh, it's unbelievable. So when I watch boxing, I think, well, I know they're getting out of it a lot more than when I was watching, but like, I don't feel like, oh, I'm a massive boxing fan. I love what I get out of it. That's why I love boxing.
Tyson, I'll leave that one.
Don't get me wrong, like, I have to watch boxing because my team tell me to watch certain things, and more boxing you watch, especially when it comes to my scouting reports for the fight, I watch it every day. But as a boxing fan, most fighters or whatever watch boxing every fight that's on every weekend on all the channels. Yeah, do you watch that fight? They'll be talking about it in the gym. I'm like, oh, damn, watch it. But to answer your question, I would like myself to fight a hero of mine growing up, or someone that I looked up to the same weight, just so I can see where I was at.
What was Nassim's division?
He did pass through featherweight, but I won't really say I'd pick him. I'd probably pick Morales at featherweight.
Think he'd be a hard fight for you?
I think it would be a hard fight, but I think the size difference back then to now, I think featherweights nowadays, the way they make weight and the science and everything, I think I'd have been a lot bigger, and I think I'd have took him out. But that's a hard one for me to answer because I idolized him. But I'd just love to see where I was at. Like,
it's the advancements of science now. Like, even with footballs and stuff like that, people will obviously say, "Oh, Pele was the best." Da, da, da. It would have been, in comparison to people around him, levels above.
Yeah.
But if you bring forward now the training and everything like that, it's just different.
So
it's
people
so
like I talk to a lot, and I look up to in my sport, say like a true great you could pull out from any era and they would still dominate in any era. So that's how you know they were great.
I wanted to ask about what do you think of this? You've got it written down here. You've put the next generation. Is that like the next generation of boxing, like YouTube boxing and all this new stuff that's spawning?
That is a good one then. Yeah, the YouTube boxing.
What do you think of all of these sort of YouTubers that obviously aren't boxers then coming in and
making a fortune?
Yeah. Because obviously you've got DAZN who are wanting a piece of the pie as well. Yeah. I mean, they've got loads of people signed, haven't they? And
there's only one type of person I feel sorry for, and it's the fighters that are sacrificing their lives, not like putting their life on the line, but like they're training morning and night every day, Monday to Friday, and have been for years, probably since they was at secondary school, to do something in the sport, and they're not getting what they should be getting, and they're boxing for area titles or whatever on small or boxing. They live, eat, sleep, breathe boxing, and they're not getting paid enough to even do that full time. They've probably got jobs as well. I feel sorry for them because they would beat them YouTubers and they would beat most of them fighters, but because of them got the profile, they're grinding and they're working because they're not getting recognised. And I feel sorry for them because other people that have built up a channel in YouTube or built up a big profile, flick to boxing and then getting paid that aren't even 10%, they won't even live with them in the same ring, and then they're getting paid crazy amount of money to fight someone else.
It's silly, isn't it, really?
But at the same time, I can understand because they've had to be smart enough to build that profile, doing whatever, and people want to see it because they know who they are. People don't know who they are, and that's because they haven't really built that side of things. But I do feel for them because they must resent boxing at that point when they're not even making enough money to do that full time, and that's what they love, and they just can't. And I've been there. I've been in that situation.
Do you not think there would be a way possibly for boxing as a sport to maybe give the new up and coming boxers some sort of platform to maybe make that name for themselves?
I think the only way to do it, I've thought about this over hours and hours and hours, and I think the only way to do it to create opportunities for fighters like that is have tournaments at every level. So tournaments at area title level, tournaments at British title level, tournaments at world title level, and what I mean by tournament is like every year or twice a year. For example, you've got an area title. People at that weight go into a 6 or 10 man tournament. Winner fights the title. Same with the British. Winner fights the title. You do that once or twice a year. Probably once a year, because by the time you have all the fights, then quarterfinal, semi-final, final. So then it gives new fighters opportunity at that weight every year you're in the tournament. So if you lose, people don't just disregard and say, "Oh, we lost to him. No, I get another chance now." Boom, you back in the tournament every year. Boom, you back in the tournament. If you get better, then you can win. If you lose, you go again. Yeah, there should be, because UFC. So I got Invisalign again, dry. UFC, like, you lose, it's not the end of the road for you. It's people want to see you in the next time fight again. But with boxing, it's like, since Mayweather went unbeaten, it's like, oh, you get beat, crap, we shit, whatever. You're on the dump. Like, it should be more like UFC, and then these tournaments would actually make that. Like, look at me, like, I got beat 2014 for the British. I got beat Jazza Dickens in the golden contract final on points, and then I won the British and world title and lost and come back, and I got Fight of the Year in 2022. I've been nominated for Fighter of the Year this year.
So that's good.
Yeah, so like, if I'd have got disregarded after that British title fight, or I'd have just listened to what everyone else said, oh, it's not really going to be good enough to win a British title. Not only was I good enough to win a British title, I've won one and defended it numerous times and beat the best people in my division in the world. Probably because of my mindset, I've not really listened to what people got to say, but at the same time, the way the sport promotes losing and the way the audience of boxing pulls people down when they lose.
It's very different.
It's very divided, isn't it?
It is. But whereas UFC, if you get beat, it's not like, retire. It's like, oh, I lost to him. Oh, yeah, but I'd like to see him fight him. Yeah. Then, but oh, no, he would smash him. We just lost to him. Yeah, but he beat him and he lost it. That's what it's like. It's open for debate, whereas boxing's like, lose, terrible, can't even win a British title. But yeah, you could have lost for a British title against one that's going to be pound for pound world champion. Because they was on the way through, they passed at certain times. Do you know what I mean? It should be like, oh yeah, he lost that time, but he'll get better, he'll come again.
The mentality is completely different, I think, because obviously I've trained boxing a bit, not to your level, obviously, but I enjoy training it. I'll watch boxing. I like watching boxing. I won't make a thing of watching every fight. I love watching UFC. I've trained MMA and I hate getting fucking smushed by someone on the mat.
I don't get twisted up.
Yeah, but I love watching it, and I do get involved and I see it come on my TikTok. I'm like, yeah, I'd love him to fight him. But I feel like a lot of the people who watch boxing have a different mindset to it, like you said, and they're not as encouraging, and you don't get as many fights often, I think. And
I think that would change with tournaments, because, like I said, you can get beat, and then if that person won it next year, and all then people was like, oh, I didn't think he had that in him. Then that would change the future mindset. Well, he lost to him, but he lost to him and then came back. And he lost to him and then came back. And then you give more opportunities for fighters, and the people that can't sell tickets, who haven't got a big following but are actually good fighters, are dedicating themselves. They're in a tournament and the eyes are on the tournament. So it doesn't really matter so much about the individual fighter that can't sell tickets, because the tournament or the other people in the tournament might generate the income. So then it's putting eyes on the tournament. Then they might find a new fighter and think, oh, he's actually exciting to watch. I like him. They're generating a bigger profile. Then the tournament gets, and it snowballs.
Do you know how the darts format works?
No.
So I didn't even know this until last night when I was watching it with our mates. They have their like Premier League, which is I think their top 8. If I'm getting this wrong, I'm really sorry, but they have 8, and then they will do a tournament. And then if they win, they get 1 point. Then it's 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. And I think they do that however often. And that's how their matches work. And they're doing tournaments all the time. And then they know everyone can beat everyone. Obviously, you won't want it as often.
No, so it's slightly different boxing. You're taking punches. But yeah, I do agree there needs to be more tournaments. And but it's just because of the opportunities. More like, I was quite lucky that going on contract. I boxed before then on Sky numerous times. But until the golden contract, I didn't really get recognised. And then the golden contract was like, wow, you win this, you get this. It's like all eyes was on it on Sky, and I think there should be more of them.
Yeah? Yeah. What we on, Cham? What time is that on? So I think we need to start wrapping up, don't we?
5 minutes.
Is there anything else that you want?
Is there anything else that you wanted to say before we start to wrap up? How long is it?
We haven't mentioned that you think we should mention.
Not really.
26.
4 minutes now.
4 minutes sound.
Upcoming fight.
I'm
I'm a bit heartbroken about it.
35 at the moment then. So how far are you through your boxing career? Because obviously you mentioned you've got kids on the way. You've got not on the way, but you've got kids. So obviously, what's next?
I'm probably on the home stretch, coming up the driveway.
Yeah.
Near the end, but I
Got
love
a fight with Warrington soon.
I love fighting. I'm not sure. You know, I've had some bad news this week that the fight at the City Ground. This is an exclusive for you. So the fight at the City Ground is not going to be happening this year.
That's such a shame.
Heartbroken. I actually genuinely feel like crying when I talk about it. I feel like I've been through so much to make that fight happen.
Why they said no?
There's just a few reasons. I think the club have done everything they can do. Just the dates don't line up, or whether it don't line up, and they've done everything they can do, but they just can't make it happen this year. It's sad. Like I said, I feel like I've done everything in my career to make that fight happen, and I feel like I had that in the back of my mind, like when this fight is going to be there, then the next fight, when this fight is going to be there, then okay, definitely win this fight, it's going to be there. I even had it in the contract for the last fight, you know, if I win this fight, it's going to be there, and we just couldn't get it, we couldn't make it. So now I need to go back, I need to reassess my goals, because obviously I wanted that to be my last fight. So now it's gonna take a while, but to regroup, reassess, change my goals, and I'm maybe fighting for longer than I was gonna plan on fighting for, which is good because I live a very disciplined lifestyle anyway. So I think I've got more longevity than I probably think. I love fighting. I'm gonna have a massive void in my life when I do retire from boxing. So that one last fight or two last fights probably now going to be three. And I feel like I can't. I won't. I feel like I can't retire from boxing until I fight at City Ground. And if that's a year away, then there'll be two more before that. So there'll be three more fights.
And even after that, you'd obviously stay in boxing. Is there other things you'd want to do in it, maybe like training?
I don't know. Like I do manage a few people at the minute, but I'm not really fussed about my passions with fighting myself. And like I said, I'm not really a massive boxing fan, but I do love helping people. So if I can help someone management wise, a bit of training when I get older, I want to like be more present in my kids' life.
That's fair.
After boxing, manage a bit of property, renovate a few places, just helping people in general sort the lives out, because I feel like my mindset is a good example to people and be a good role model to people that are going through struggles. I think I can help people change the way they think a little bit. So I won't mind doing that. Bit of managing. When I get older and I get a bit bored of whatever I was doing, I'm not longer doing anything else, then I would like to coach. I see that because I think coaching is a massive commitment, and it's not something you can do 9 to 5 or a few days here, there, and there. It's a full-time job every day, and you've got to apply yourself, and you've got to want to you got to want to get better. So I see that when I get older and I've got a lot more time to commit to it, when my kids are older, then I'll probably get into it.
So then, to end it on a positive one, what would you say to the young lad that's walking in the gym at 11 that wants to get where you've got?
I'd say don't let anyone tell you what you can't do. One thing I've always had is a kind of a stubborn, not being told I can't do something kind of attitude. I've always had that. I like actually enjoy people telling me I can't do something. That was the best way to motivate me to do it. Yeah. But to them ones that don't naturally have that mindset is, if you want to do something, like you really want to do it, not just you want to do it because they want to do it, or not just do it because of what you get out of it, but if you really want to do something, go and do it with everything you've got, pursue it. Don't look at a plan B. Don't even think, if it don't happen, then I'll do this. Just go for that thing, and make sure you learn everything about that craft. Dedicate yourself to that craft. Make the sacrifice you have to make, and I promise you, if you do all them things, you'll get there.
Discipline is the big takeaway that I've got from this as well. Leigh, appreciate it, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, bro. Appreciate that.